Hey, Jimmy here, founder and CTO at Rad Security. We're going to do a quick demo of performing an IR exercise or incident response exercise using Rad and RADBot specifically. So in this case, we have a runtime finding. So our behavioral runtime analysis engine has discovered through the use of a variety of different telemetry sources, including eBPF, that there is a OS credential dumping attack that has occurred. This is in a Kubernetes cluster in EKS called rad demos public. In the default namespace, it's a Debian container. And you can see here all of the different elements that kind of brought this to our attention inside of the Rad platform. So once we have an incident or an alert triggered at runtime, we pull in other contextual information, CVEs or other running containers, packages that are in use, and then give you the full breakdown of the process tree. So if this were to occur, you can also use RADBot to run an IR scenario. So RADBot is used to essentially take all of this data about the incident, but also anything happening in your cloud from a log perspective, CVEs, identity logs, you name it. Rad has access to it through this agentic interface. So out of the gate, we can kind of take a look at this and let's just copy the container name here. There is an incident with, can you show any other alerts or suspicious So in this case, I'm asking RADBot to essentially bring some context into the mix and kick off this investigation. This will reach out to different tools, findings, other running containers, not just in one cluster, but all of the clusters that are part of this tenant, and then pull those into the context during your investigation, as you'll see here. And we get to look at the process tree information as well. Everything you see going by the screen here, these are individual discrete tools that are LLM enabled to basically be routed to the right destination when you ask a question. So you can see here we have the results. I'm going to let this finish. And we could see we have other, because I asked for other related incidents, we have other high security incidents. Someone has exec'd into one of the pods, and then we have our target credential dumping attack that it pulled in, and you can see the shell session that was part of the process tree as well. There's also a map back to the AWS IAM credentials, or in this case the reserved SSO role, and then we're going to pull in any additional misconfigurations. So this all helps me build the story for this particular incident. So next, I want to understand a little bit about network connectivity. We're going to ask RADBot to show all network connections from the suspicious container and where is it connecting to. So this is another pretty powerful piece of the eBPF capability that we have to actually inspect HTTP, HTTPS traffic. We can look for PII. There's a lot of depth here when it comes to HTTP requests, and we're going to be able to pull any of that into the context of this particular investigation. Okay, so in this case, we don't have any IP outbound network connections that were discovered. That's okay. And we are pulling in, again, anything IP address related. And it says, based on the analysis, appears the container was an early stage of compromise and kind of more of the reconnaissance phase. So the next thing we're going to take a look at, and the very important part of any sort of IR exercise, is to understand who has access to this thing. Who, is this a human, or is this somebody that came in through a script or some other malware? So we're going to ask what identities have access to this cluster when the suspicious activity was happening. And in this case, we pull in data from not just clusters, but any sort of RBAC metadata information that we have, as well as the audit logs themselves that are generated from the cluster. Okay, so we can see here after the investigation and pulling in relevant audit logs themselves and putting that time constraint in, we have a rundown of IAM creds that have actually executed into this pod itself, right? And we saw this earlier, and we can see this is one of our engineers, and we know what groups they're in, time of access, and they're part of the system masters group. There are also other high privilege identities that have access to the cluster, right? So there's a bunch of EKS built-in IAM roles, service accounts, something called superadmin in the Cube system namespace, and other groups that have significant access. So we're trying to get to the root of this problem. So finally, we are going to send an issue to essentially Slack in this case. We could also create a GitHub issue. And because RADBot has access to several tools that are in the integration category, Slack as well, we can actually ask it not to just draft, but let's just say send a Slack message with the critical findings about this incident. And this will call the Slack tool itself right in this context window, and it will create a full summary of the incident. We can again also send this to other ticketing systems, etc. Okay. So I didn't specify channel name. I probably should have, because it just got sent to our company's general channel. That's fine. But you will see the alert itself, in Slack, and you're able to actually have this sent and routed to the right person. And here you see the whole security incident broken down into what was observed, who had access, the vulnerabilities exploited, and our head of engineering quickly saying, assuming this was a test, because it was. All right, thanks for tuning in, everyone, and let us know if you have questions.